How to conquer fear? This question we will deal by considering what is fear, causes of fear, ill effects for fear, and how to conquer fear. First, what is fear? Fear is a natural, powerful, primitive response or emotion creating a high emotional upheaval. Fear alerts us to the presence of danger or threat of harm, physical or psychological. Now, to the extent that it is positive, it tries to safeguard, tries to warn us to be careful. That way, to that extent, I think fear is positive. Fear is also positive to the extent that because we feel that we may not fail, we do extra take care for doing something. For example, public speaking. People are afraid. So fear motivates us to prepare this speech nicely, practice it, so that fear of failure is not there. Now, the causes of fear. There are a few causes which have a kind of reference to our old life, past unpleasant incidents. When they come to mind and we are facing a similar situation, that causes fear. Then learned response from earlier life, our parents, teachers, or others saying that don't do this, this will happen. These are particularly phobias. Don't go close to the serpent. Don't jump into the water. So like this, these are the past learned responses. The reaction or response to panic or fear. Sometimes if we have faced a situation where there is a panic, our response remains. Response remains in the memory. Panic response is another reason. Past panic response for fear. Then genetic factor. Yes, it has been recognized that sometimes people are fearful because of genetic factor. Lastly, it is poor health. Poor health also causes fear. Poor physical and mental health. Now, what are the ill effects of fear? Ill effects of fear are many. It weakens immune system. It causes gastrointestinal problems. It causes irritable bowel movement. It definitely accelerates aging. And finally, though rarely, sometimes it can become cause of premature death. Lastly, how to conquer fear? Can it be conquered? Yes, it can be. The first suggestion or advice is to avoid avoidance. You should not avoid fear. Avoiding the fear will aggravate it. You should be ready to face it. Face it boldly, recognizing that it's a part of life. Then you must promote positivity, positive attitude, positive way of thinking, and positive way of looking at things. Definitely helps you to ward off, helps you to mitigate fear. Practice self-compassion. You should be compassionate towards your own self. Then shift your focus. Suppose there is a point when something is too much disturbing you and you think it's a perceived failure, it may not happen, then shift the focus. Another way to mitigate fear is go for a walk or go for a run. Then practice self-awareness. Repeat to yourself that you are not a coward, that you can face difficulties because difficulties are a part of life. Life is not a straight line. Life is full of ups and downs. We find that in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, Arjun is totally downcast with fear. Fear for many things. He is afraid that his entire family will be lost, will be killed if they have the war. Then he also doesn't know. He says, I don't know whether it is good for me or not so good. And then he also says he doesn't know who will win. So fear of failure is also there. It is explained by Lord Krishna that everyone who comes here has to die, and in any case there is nothing he can do or anybody can do to stop death. Death is bound to come. But soul is eternal. It never dies. It was there, it is there, and it will be there. So therefore, there is nothing to fear. This kind of thought also removes the fear.